your daughter's name is Karen.
Karen!
Good afternoon, South Africa, and a very, very warm welcome to you. This is Afternoon Express. I'm Jeannie D.
My name is Palisa Tembe. My name is Palisa Tembe. It shows that it is a Wednesday, but we're getting over this hump day. Our hearts are sore, but there's love all over.
So yesterday, the nation lost yet another giant, the legendary Johnny Clegg. He is one of South Africa's most celebrated musicians and musical activists whose infectious crossover music exploded onto the international scene and broke through all the barriers in South Africa. We will mourn him. What a great, great loss to music and to Africa.
And over the years, he's enjoyed a massive following and sold over 500 million albums worldwide. He'll fondly be remembered as the White Zulu. Sithi lala ngoxolo, Mr. Johnny Clegg. You will always and forever remain in our hearts.
Oh, what a loss. So sad. So today on the show, we bring you some of the most inspirational pioneers who are determined to improve the lives of South Africans through their organizations. We meet Thobeka Loana, the managing director of the Do Good Circle, an organization that is determined on delivering digital skills to the youth in rural communities across South Africa.
Absolutely incredible work. And we also meet Dr. Mathobela Matjekana, the founder of Clinimed, a health facility that offers primary health care in some of Cape Town's most impoverished areas. Plus, we chat to Guy Groenier, the marketing director of At Green Home, about the ways that you can combat plastic pollution crisis in our country. So join the conversation online and tell us what you are doing to combat the plastic pollution and reduce your carbon footprint. Tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express or comment on our Facebook page. Jeannie, I know we always say we need to recycle paper.
But recycling's not enough, and you'll hear why in the interview. Now, the new reality show, The Next Brand Ambassador, starts broadcasting from the 15th of August right here on SABC3, and the call to entry is currently well underway. The series will follow the search for 3 industry-leading marketing talents to represent South Africa's #1 retail bank, Capitec. So if you think that you are smart and sussed enough to take on some of South Africa's best marketers and influencers, then enter to be considered as a contestant on the show. Entries for Johannesburg is unfortunately closed, but the deadline for Durban and Cape Town candidates is midnight on Monday the 22nd of July. So don't let this massive career opportunity pass you by. All you need to do is visit thenextbrandambassador.com for full details on how to enter, and also those all-important terms and conditions, and enter now to be a contestant and live better with Capitec and the Next Brand Ambassador, coming soon to SABC3.
The search is on for the next brand ambassador, and it could be you. The Next Brand Ambassador is an exciting new reality show where candidates compete in various challenges to test their marketing skills, teamwork, and creativity, where ultimately the 3 most worthy will each win the opportunity to work with the marketing team at the bank awarded Best Bank in South Africa. If you think you possess the necessary skills to outperform the rest, record a short video introducing yourself and tell us why you have what it takes. Visit thenextbrandambassador.com for all the T's and C's and entry details. Joburg entries are now closed, but deadline for Durban and Cape Town candidates is midnight on Monday, 22nd July. So get those applications in and live better with the Next Brand Ambassador and SABC3. The stage is yours. Proudly brought to you by Capitec.
The Do Good Circle is a woman-led non-profit organisation whose focus is on delivering digital skills to the youth of the country. Together with the techno firm HCL and the Nelson Mandela Foundation, they have partnered to address the 4th Industrial Revolution challenge of basically skilling South African youth up, and especially in remote parts of the country. Thobeka Loana is in the studio now to tell us about this wonderful initiative. Welcome to the show.
Nice to be here, Janice.
So, by the sounds of it, I mean, the Do Good, it sounds like you guys are doing a good job. Tell us a little bit about how your organization came into being.
Okay. We are the members of the Do Good. We've got 3 sisters. It's a combination of 3 sisters and some of our partners that we're working with, and the technical gigs that help deliver the skills in the remote parts of the country. So we've always worked in the development space, in our previous corporate lives, and we used to work closely with the Nelson Mandela Foundation. So when all of us left the corporate environment, we decided to team up and address some of the key challenges that we know that the people in the remote areas experience. And there's been a lot of talk recently around how we need to skill our youth, most importantly, so that they are future fit, so that they have skills that can benefit them in the future. And it's been one of the areas that we focused in. So it's really about our passion for being in the social development space and using the resources and the networks that we have to do the work done, to get the work done.
It is so necessary. I feel like the world is just getting smarter and smarter, and there's so many rapid technical advances, and yet there's so many places that could potentially be left behind. It's almost like there's light years separating the differences, I suppose, in some aspects of the world. So how are you planning on bringing these impoverished communities up to date?
Okay. In our study, we found that even though there's been a lot of talk about the lack of access to these skills across the country, but we found that in your urban settings, for example, in Cape Town, in Joburg, you find there's quite a few companies that are offering coding skills, for example. But when you look in the more smaller towns, in the most remote places, there's nothing. So we decided that our NGO would function more like an outreach to go to the places where there's less skills. So we kind of galvanize Corporate South Africa to help us with the support, with the funding, with the resources where possible, with computers. Amazing. And then we get the coding classes going.
Amazing. So essentially you're going into these schools and providing them with the computers as well as the know-how so that they can learn how to code and to become technologically fluent. Yes.
So I think our motivation or our key thing is to address 2 areas. One is entrepreneurship, and then another one is employment. So with the skills that we're providing, we are targeting primarily school leavers, those who probably maybe did not finish matric, but they were very close to getting matric, or those who have completed matric, but they haven't been able to continue with tertiary qualifications. So our objective is to, if you go through these classes, you can be able to become a web developer, for example, and earn a living by creating websites for entrepreneurs around in your community. Or you can be employed as a basic programmer. You can be employed as a basic systems programmer. So those are the key things we're focusing on. And again, leaning on the partnerships we have with organizations like the Nelson Mandela Foundation and some corporates that we are talking to in the tech space, really mobilizing for them to see what they can do with the students or learners in our classes, be it its learnerships, be it its further training, so that there's room to make sure that people are able to make a living, because digital skills are very important. I mean,
totally.
I found out that most people in South Africa are hiring, people from China to create websites for them based on the price that they're more competitive. They're most price competitive in China than in South Africa. So we're looking at skilling the youth who are not working, who are not in school, to doing very basic but smart work remotely. They don't have to be in urban settings for them to earn a living, and that's what we're trying to address.
It's such a brilliant idea, because if you look at the unemployment rate, if you look at the level of education, I think all of that needs to change so that kids really can learn to be their own bosses, so that there won't be such a problem of having to find a job somewhere and having to slot into the system. So what areas are you focusing on, and who has access to this? Like, what kind of kids will gain access to this amazing opportunity?
So we haven't been running this program for long. We started last year, with one pilot with another tech company. We worked with in Joburg in Diepsloot.
Yeah.
And the current program that we're running now is in Mthatha. We've started around April. We've got a first group of graduates that have come out. We've got a class that started literally on this week, which will continue for about 4 weeks. And hopefully when they come out of this class, they will be able to design apps, functional apps that they can make a living out of, that they can generate income out of. They can be able to design websites. They can be able to do quite a number of your very basic but nonetheless useful digital skills for them to move themselves forward and for them to really solve even some of the community problems that they're dealing with. So, for example, with some of the training that we're doing, we've spoken to the Nelson Mandela Foundation in terms of understanding the social issues in Mthatha, and we're giving them those challenges to see how they can resolve them using technology based on whatever skills they're going to get in class. So it's going to be interesting in about 2 months' time to see what comes out of this.
I'm so excited to follow up that. Science and technology is really one of my favorite subjects because I feel like we are literally witnessing the future happening in front of us. And I think something like the fourth industrial revolution is getting so much press at the moment. But in your opinion, what does this actually mean and how does it affect us?
I think in its most, I mean, people have got different ways of interpreting what this is about. But I think for me, what is most important is for us to have a workforce or even a population that is smart enough in terms of understanding what it will take for them to make a living. Because where we're going, even how we operate our homes, the equipment that we have our homes, we need to be smart enough to be able to do. I mean, I'm just saying it in the most basic way. Technology is going to be more than just a luxury. It's just going to be how we live in everything from security to health to everything.
Well, I think Elon Musk this morning said he's going to learn, we'll be in the next year we'll be able to hook our brains up to the internet. I mean, my brain already is on the internet. I Google everything.
Everything in your home is already computerized, from your fridge to your TV to your whatever. So technology, we can't, and so we have to have kids that are smart enough to function in that environment, whether they're in urban settings or whether they're in rural settings.
Exactly. Now, quickly before we go, tomorrow, of course, everybody is doing their 67 minutes of service. Are you actually doing it? Because you do it 365 days a year. So what are you doing for yours?
So tomorrow I'm very excited. We have a friend of ours who's visiting us from the United States, Malak Compton Rock. She has 3 initiatives happening in Diepsloot. We'll be at Museveni Primary School. She's launching a water project where they didn't have clean running water in the school. So she's brought a company from the United States to generate water from solar panels. It's an amazing innovation. So she's launching that in Diepsloot tomorrow, and on Saturday we'll follow up with a soccer coaching clinic that she's doing with the UN for Women and some legendary soccer players from the country. So it's really to inspire young girls, to also inspire young men in the community to respect and stand up for young girls.
That is absolutely beautiful.
So that's what I'll be doing for my Mandela Week.
Well done. Thank you so much for all the extraordinary work that you do. Just spreading that Mandela magic wherever you go. How about you, Pani?
Mandela magic all the way, Jeannie. Shout out indeed goes to the do-gooder circle. Very, very inspiring. So according to the Western Cape government, about 8 million metric tons of plastic is dumped into our oceans every minute, causing the death of hundreds of marine animals. So after the break, we chat to Guy Gronier from the Green Home about combating the plastic pollution crisis in our country. See you after the break.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. I trust that you are having a wonderful afternoon so far. So Green Home is South Africa's first fully biodegradable packaging company, founded in 2007 by Catherine Morris in an effort to combat the plastic pollution crisis in South Africa. Marketing Director Guy Cronje joins us now in the studio to discuss how we can make a change by reducing our carbon footprint. Plus, he will be sharing a few tips on how we can make our lives more eco-conscious. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Judy. Thanks for having me.
So what exactly is Green Home?
Cool. So like you said, Green Home is South Africa's first 100% biodegradable food packaging company.
Yeah.
So we supply corporate canteens, restaurants, hotels, events, catering companies with 100% biodegradable food packaging products made from plant-based raw materials that are fully compostable at end of life. So if they're in a composting environment, they'll break down into healthy compost.
Now that there's so much media on all of the plastic pollution and how bad it is, I think we are now slowly becoming more and more conscious of it. Like every morning I've got this place who delivers me breakfast and I get a ginger shot and then they put a little, but every morning it's a different little plastic container, which I'm only ever going to use once. Now the lifetime, I'm the only person who's ever going to use that plastic container, and then hoping that it doesn't one day end up killing a dolphin in the ocean. So, I mean, single-use plastic is obviously the most damaging thing in the world at the moment, no?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of... it's positive to see the dialogue around it and the exposure that it's getting. It's great to see that it's obviously something that's in the forefront of everyone's mind. But yeah, single-use plastic is a major concern that we're facing globally at the moment. And it's something that we need to combat together and all of us, you know, pushing towards eradicating it as much as possible.
How realistic is it to say that we can live in a plastic-free environment?
Yeah, I don't think that we could necessarily go completely plastic-free. Plastic has got a lot of utility and it's used in a number of different things. I mean, it'd be hard to imagine vehicles, for example, without plastic of some degree. I think the main thing that we need to try to eradicate is single-use plastic, and that's the distinction we have to kind of make. And that's what we're aiming for, yeah.
So tell us exactly, in your opinion, what a carbon footprint is and how people should try and reduce theirs.
Cool. So, I mean, a carbon footprint, obviously, that's not necessarily our kind of expertise. From our perspective, the products that we supply are plant-based products. They're made from plant-based raw materials. And the manufacture of those products have a considerably less carbon footprint than plastic products. So the use of products that are plant-based would generally bring down your carbon footprint quite substantially, yeah.
That's absolutely crazy. So what do you recommend? I mean, what about recycling? Is it enough to recycle plastic?
Unfortunately not. So, I mean, don't get us wrong, by no stretch of the imagination are we saying that we shouldn't recycle. It's a fundamental part of any waste management system. But it's not the silver bullet that everyone kind of thinks it is when it comes to the single-use plastic crisis that we're facing. A lot of plastics are not recyclable. You can't recycle them. The plastics that are recyclable decrease in value generally decrease in value as they get recycled. So eventually they're going to end up in landfill or in our oceans or whatever at some point in time. So basically just delaying the process. There's also a psychological aspect to it as well. A lot of the time consumers think that they don't have the regret of using single-use plastic because they think, I'm just going to recycle it, you know, and then it's kind of taken care of. And that's not really the reality. So there's a saying that goes around that we can't recycle our way out of this mess. We have to find alternative solutions.
Just to paint a picture, I think, for our viewers, in terms of explaining why single-use plastic is so dangerous, can you give us like a lifetime drawing of what happens to plastic? So the bottles, the straws and whatever. So from the minute we use it to where it ends up.
Yeah, I think to talk about the lifeline or the life cycle of plastic is we start from the beginning, the history of it. Plastic kind of started getting mass-produced about 70 years ago, and we've seen a very sharp increase in the demand for plastic. It's really entered our lives in a number of different ways. We've become very dependent on it. But I think the study shows about 50% of all plastic ever produced was produced in the last 19 years.
Wow.
So it's a 70-year history, and you know, so much of it is produced really recently. So we're becoming so dependent on it. And it's a major issue because the product is not biodegradable. So it's produced, it serves its purpose, and then it's discarded and doesn't enter into the natural cycles of things that the Earth has developed over, millennia. And it's very lightweight, as also it finds its way into environments where it shouldn't be, and it creates, havoc in those environments as well. So as a material for when it's being used, it's really great, to protect food, whatever.
Sometimes not. It's actually ridiculous. Like I saw this, there's a store in the UK that was literally peeling the bananas, peeling oranges, peeling nachos, and putting them into a plastic container.
Exactly.
Like nature literally just gave you packaging.
Exactly,
Why on earth are you using this plastic now?
Plant-based packaging, that's exactly it. It's, nature has provided so much, and we're stepping away from that and stepping out of the natural cycles. We need to kind of go back towards that.
So give us some tips for people at home to utilize Green Home to make their homes a little bit more eco-conscious.
Well, I mean, our product specifically will be best served towards a more business environment. So in your personal capacity...
You mean like in takeaways? Like if I go and buy a burger and chips, then...
Which is a major component. So a lot of our clients use our products as part of a bigger sustainability initiative, and we're getting some really, really positive feedback about how these companies that are trying to go more sustainable and incorporating things like this, how the morale of the employees is skyrocketing, The employees are feeling like they're part of a solution instead of part of the problem, and they're part of a company that's really offering a solution and doing something that's good, and it's really empowering, So that's a real positive aspect.
It really is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us.
Absolutely.
Let's try and have a plastic, well, as much as possible, free environment as possible. Thank you very much for being here today. So still to come, we're going to be making a delicious yogurt-stuffed flatbread with Chef Mo after the break. Yummy. And of course, we meet Dr. Matobela Majekane, the founder of Clinimed, after the break. Thank you so much.
Clover Classic, the creamy taste that takes you back. Made with love by Clover.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, simplicity is a trend that never goes out of style, and our Clover Classic stuffed flatbreads is definitely a delicious, indulgent decadence, but simple recipe to make. And to try this at home, SMS the keyword Clover to 33650. Remember, SMSs cost R1.50 and free SMSs
do not apply.
Love that, Chef Mo. You are on the ball this hump day, and even better so, you're on the ball in the kitchen.
We are doing the things with the pots in the kitchen today.
And you're making them happen, girl.
Yes, girl. So to this bowl, you have some browned mince, which has been infused with some cumin and coriander, and I need you to season that up for me with a bit of salt and pepper. And we're gonna add the secret ingredient, Clover Classic Plain, just to tone down that spiciness a bit.
Oh, yes.
And I'm gonna get on to our flatbread recipe over here. So in this bowl, I've just got some flour. Season
How much do I put, Mo?
Oh, that's good, girl. You're good.
I was gonna say, how creamy are we getting it today?
That looks good to me. So I've got flour and salt in here. I'm also going to add a bit of Clover Classic Plain to this. This is going to make my dough nice and springy and light and delectable.
Fluffy as always.
Fluffy, that's what we love in our dough. Okay, put that to the side, and then this is our secret scientific mixture.
And why is it frothing? What is this, Mo?
So that is because of the yeast. The yeast needs food to react. So in there we've got some sugar. We're going to add a bit more yeast because we want our flatbreads to puff up.
Oh, wow.
And just a bit of lukewarm water, and that is going to cause that to grow and froth, like we have done here previously.
Beautiful.
And then that goes into our mixture over here for our flatbreads.
Absolutely stunning. Whilst you're mixing that up, remember at home, if you would love to try this incredible Clover Classic stuffed flatbreads, SMS the keyword Clover to 33650.
Right, so once that comes together, it forms a beautiful dough. I mean, look at that.
Ooh,
how
stunning.
gorgeous is that? And then you just roll it out a little bit into flatbreads like this. We're gonna add a little oil to our pan.
Oh,
And then
nice.
this is where we just start to brown our little flatbreads.
Okay, so we have to make sure that the pan is hot. So as soon as that oil comes
Yeah.
on, it heats up immediately.
Yeah.
Then the flatbread goes on and you just
Goes
toast
on,
each side.
And you just toast each side, and then they come out looking like this gorgeous beauty over here.
Absolutely.
So I will take that from you. And then we can actually start assembling. So you can add some of the mince mixture to your flatbread.
Nice. Okay, I kind of went a little ham on the yogurt, but I love it because you know what? The creamier, the better. Filled with vitamins, filled with
Absolutely.
freshness, absolutely making it creamy for you at home.
That's what we're going for. And then you can just garnish with some feta cheese and a little bit of fresh coriander. And we've also got some chili flakes, because I know you like your spice, girl.
I do like my
Yeah.
spice. I do love it to have that little bit of a kick to it, which is absolutely delicious. At home, you better be trying this with us. Add whatever cheeses you want, add whatever toppings you want. Of course, here we used ground beef, but you can use chicken, right? You can use
some
pork,
chicken,
fish.
and even if you're vegetarian, do a little chickpea, do a little lentils.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm slowly becoming a huge lentil fan. Remember, if you would love to try this at home, SMS the keyword Clover to 33650. Remember, SMSs cost R1.50 and from SMSs do not apply. But if you want to see how this is made one more time, here's a quick recap.
Made with love by Clover.
Clover Classic, the creamy taste that takes you back. Made with love by Clover.
I can't say this enough, but the dishes that we make here on Afternoon Express are truly delicious. That looked amazing. Still to come on Afternoon Express, we are going to be having an insightful conversation with Dr. Majikane. She has such an incredible story to share on how she started her own practice. All that after the break.
Express yourself.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express, and here's this for a message. Brush off the chill of winter by planning for your next overseas holiday with Turkish Airlines. The best part is that if you look between the 1st of September and the 30th of November, you can take advantage of these special fares starting from 7,400 Rand. From that amazing price, you can enjoy vibrant and cultural destinations like Barcelona, Athens, Zagreb, Rome, Istanbul, and of course seize the day and take advantage of this incredible offer by speaking to your preferred travel agent or directly to Turkish Airlines before the 31st of July. Now, if all of this wasn't incredible enough, you can then ask about the free stopover in Istanbul that'll allow you to experience 2 destinations for the price of 1. Widen your world with Turkish Airlines, and remember that T's and C's do apply. Now, if you are in the market for a smartphone with the latest technology, then LG's G8 ThinQ is exactly what you were looking for. It features the groundbreaking Z camera on the front, which revolutionizes the phone's biometric security. Not only can you use the fingerprint scanner on the back of the phone, but the Z camera is able to unlock the phone by basically scanning your palm or by recognizing your face.
Absolutely incredible. So by simply glancing at the phone, it will identify your facial features and unlock, even in the dark. So when you're lying in bed late at night, which I'm guilty of, and you want to check your messages, you can access the G8 ThinQ by simply picking it up and having a look at it.
Amazing. Medical doctor turned entrepreneur Dr. Matobela Machekane is the woman behind the Cape Town-based Clinimed healthcare facility. It has taken her 11 years to build her private practice whilst juggling between being a wife and a mother of 2. Her clinic offers primary healthcare amongst other services, and over the years has expanded to 3 practices operating in Khayelitsha, Mitchell's Plain and Parklands. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
You have just done such extraordinary work, but let's go right to the beginning. When you were a little girl, you grew up in Limpopo, I think.
Yes, I did.
What was your pull, I suppose, to becoming a doctor? Because I don't believe that you choose to become a doctor. I think it chooses you. But when did you realize that you had that gift?
Look, I think when I was in like matric, you know, where we used to do applications via hand and send the applications, and everybody was excited about what they wanted to do. I had a feeling in me that I wanted to do something that will empower the community and help the community.
Yeah.
And I think from there and there, my first choice was medicine at UCT, and I was lucky they took me there.
You know how a lot of kids get to go with their parents to work and kind of get an idea of business and work ethics through their parents. Your mum was a nurse. Did you ever go to the hospitals with her and then, you know, see what she was up to?
You see, I think when I was still a baby, yes, I was aware that she was a nurse, but I was not really exposed to the nursing life that she lived. All I knew was that she worked long hours and came back while I'm sleeping, and that didn't even deter me from wanting to be a doctor.
Yeah.
So I think after becoming a nurse, she then went into entrepreneurship and was running her own factory. I think that as well, that's what stimulated me into running my own businesses and all that.
So tell us a bit about your medical student years. What did you study? What did you specialize in, I suppose?
Okay, I basically did MBCHB, which is just a bachelor in medicine and surgery. It's basically an undergrad. So when we qualify, you become a general practitioner. I then decided I didn't want to super specialize in one field. I would remain a general practitioner and just add on other things that I had interest in, like HIV and AIDS, whereby I did a diploma in HIV and AIDS management. And then I later discovered an interest in what is called aesthetic medicine, which is what I've recently done a course in.
Amazing. Yeah. And of course, you worked for a very long time in the public healthcare system. I mean, what is it like for a doctor in the public healthcare system? Because we hear all about it in the news, about how hard it is for doctors and sometimes patients alike. But what was it like for you, that experience?
It was interesting, but hard.
Yeah.
Interesting in the sense that you finally get to become what you've been studying to be.
Yeah.
And when you're doing your internship and your community service, you get exposed to real sicknesses whereby you daily are interacting with patients, dealing with real death and life issues.
Yeah.
So it's very, very interesting, but at the same time, you have to adjust to the different lifestyle that you're going to be living, whereby you're working shifts.
Yeah.
And you're working during holidays, and which is something that most people are not used to, especially who are not working in normal corporate world.
Yeah.
So it's quite a shocker in that way.
I think your work there is so labor intensive, but then you decided to add on entrepreneurship just to give yourself even more work. Why did you decide to open up your own clinic?
I think having worked in the public sector and realized there are many things that were missing, I thought, let me rather do something that is private, whereby I can do my own thing and at the same time leverage on the issue of public primary health care, which is mainly a very basic need that each and every individual requires. So with that created a platform for me to strengthen my entrepreneurship journey as well.
So tell me a little bit about your clinic. So you've got 3 in 3 different communities. What services are on offer in them?
So in our township clinics, we mainly offer your primary, what is called primary health care. That would entail your normal colds and flus, HIV and AIDS test and management of that, baby clinics, as well as chronic management disorders.
Yeah.
And we have in our other clinic, whereby we are also doing what is called aesthetic, whereby we do non-surgical facelifts as well as IV drips and anything to keep you young and vibey and
I love
fresh.
that you were doing that, because obviously I love aesthetics and I'm definitely coming to you for a non-surgical facelift. But what I loved is normally when you see, poorer communities, you don't see a focus or a need for aesthetics. So why did you think that was going to work in those areas?
Look, I think the most important thing is that we all have something in us that we would want to do something about, and the impact that I have seen when somebody gets a clearer skin from having had pigmentation, the confidence they have, and just that on its own just made me think, you know what, let me just also offer this kind of a service in this kind of
It's
way.
the most amazing, amazing thing ever. You do such incredible work. I want to know about some of the stories on some of the patients that you've had.
Just to mention one, her name is Namtla. She can never stop talking about the transformation that we've given her. It's not everybody that can afford to wear makeup every day.
Yeah.
And she wrote and said, look, for the first time, I feel very free and happy to walk on the street and not being ashamed of my face. And the fact that it's lifted her confidence. And, and we don't know the amount of self-doubt having pigmentation or even pimples on your face can do to one's self-esteem as well as their self-confidence.
No, I think people take it for granted that what it is just for your face to be your shop front, I suppose, is so important. You are doing such extraordinary work. I mean, you're a wife, you've got 2 children and now own 3 clinics. Really, you are extraordinary. Thank you for being exactly the kind of woman that Afternoon Express absolutely salutes. That is absolutely extraordinary. Thank you so much. And of course, South Africa wants to know some questions. Do we have anything on social media today, Pali?
So social media, I'm still gathering all the comments, so definitely keep them coming. What are you doing to lower your carbon footprint and recycle plastic use? What are you doing in your communities to make a difference? Remember to use Afternoon Express in all of your comments so that we can find you. So we continue the chat with our amazing guests after the break.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express this glorious afternoon. So we are back now with Dr. Matobela Machekane, the founder of Clinimed, as well as Tobeko Luana, the managing director of the Do Good Circle, and Guy Cronier to chat about what inspired them to empower their communities and how you at home can also pay it forward. So welcome back to the show. I want to know, I mean, you guys are doing such good work at the Do Good Circle, obviously, and you're empowering your communities that you're going into so well. How can people help, like especially people surrounding those communities? How can they get involved? Like, what do you guys need to build and get even stronger?
We do need access to more, like for example, we can have university graduates that have studied IT who can just be part of the coaching team in our classes.
Mentorship.
And mentor. We are inviting also, especially in the community of Mthatha, because that's where we are, even the corporates that are in the community to just reach out to us on www.dogoodcircle to find out how they can extend their organizations for learnerships and any other, you know, access to some level of skilling in their communities, well, within the region of Mthatha. So,
amazing.
Yeah, if people can just go to our website, www.dogoodcircle.co.za.
All of that information we will have on our website as well, afternoonexpress.co.za. Everything from today's show is going to be there.
Absolutely. Matobela, I want to find out from you, what is the biggest misconceptions that you get, especially going into these communities, about aesthetics and fixing your face? A lot of people don't want to touch, you know, and mess with the magic. So how do you infiltrate and say, hey, this is not that bad?
I think the biggest misconception is that black doesn't crack.
I was about to
That is, I was saying.
Listen, out of all of my black braids, none of them need Botox.
And I think it's just the explanation behind of what the products that we use on your face are going to do more than anything. And the fact that if people don't do anything about it, what are the late repercussions that they're going to have to deal with?
A lot of people don't believe that, especially with darker melanated skin, that we don't need to use sunscreen. I mean, a lot of people
every day.
Absolutely. I use 50 plus, SPF 50 plus. I mean, just for these studio lights alone. So I really do believe that is incredible. And you guys, on our social media platforms, we've been asking everyone how they give back into the environmental do-gooding in their communities and how they recycle, basically. And we've got another comment here from Lindy van Logenberg, and she says, my kids and I make eco bricks. We take our plastic bottles, paper and cardboard and drop it off at a point, and we take our bottle tops and bread tags, and they are donated to their school to make wheelchairs. I mean, who knew that that was possible?
Oh, wow.
That is absolutely amazing. How else can people get in and get involved and make a difference, even with the smallest things?
Yeah, definitely a major thing that we could all be doing is composting. So dealing with our organic waste. 40% of the waste that goes to landfill in our country is organic waste. It's actually a resource that we should be using. So you can easily do that by setting up a 3-bin system in your house or your office, where there's a specific bin for organic waste. That's your banana
But
peels.
doesn't that compost itself in the landfill?
It doesn't
I don't know how
actually.
it
So
works.
landfill is not an environment, a composting environment.
Oh, okay.
So essentially it just rots and gives off methane gas, which is a terrible greenhouse gas that we want to try to eradicate as much as possible. So you want to actually compost it to turn it into healthy soils that we can use and use as a resource.
So what's the easiest way to do that? Like you were talking about the 3 bins at our home. Please, I mean, explain it to me as if I'm a child, because
Cool,
I've got 1 bin at home and I feel like I need 3 now.
So basically, you have 3 bins, funnily enough. One for all your organic waste, so your offcuts, your fruit peels, all that kind of stuff, and that you can either put into a home organic compost heap, or you can, there's lots of places, there's a few places here in Cape Town that do it, that will take that waste and compost it for you. You then need a recycling bin, so that's for your metals, your glass, your plastics that get recycled and go through their streams, and then you have your other waste that eventually goes to landfill, and we want to minimize that waste as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we've got another comment here from Ngakane Khomutso, and they say reducing single-use plastic consumption thank you, Jeannie, is the best way to combat plastic pollution. Ladies, I don't know how you feel about this. What are you doing in your communities to recycle and reduce your carbon
I know what
footprint?
Dr. Machakane is doing with the plastics.
Me,
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to shop less and really recycle my clothes as much as possible.
Yeah.
And at home even, yeah. So I've stopped buying all new plastics every time I go grocery shopping. It's been a difficult habit to break, but I think I'm getting there.
Clothes are a great one. Thrift stores, like there's some great finds at thrift stores. You know, like it's a great.
I was actually going to say that I read an article recently saying that yes, plastic is, there's so much that's damaging, but so our clothes are also. There's just a glut of all these clothes. So yeah, handing them over to thrift stores.
Absolutely, and on that note, talking about shopping bags, we've got Samkelisiwe Dladla here that says we must use paper bags when we go shopping. So she's right on that note with you.
Okay, so I was thinking about this recently. So plastic is bad but isn't paper also bad because then we're going to cut down so many trees?
It depends on where they're sourcing those trees from. So. Us, for example, all of our paper products are FSC certified, so they come from sustainable forests.
Okay.
So it's a renewable resource. So it's not just going out into your local environment and chopping down a tree and using that. It's actually a managed environment, a managed source of wood. Yeah.
Okay, because I freak out about recycling of paper and everything all of the time. So now, of course, this is Mandela Month. What are you doing tomorrow for your 67 minutes of service?
So we actually work very closely with an organisation in Khayelitsha called Yiza Ikaya. It's a shelter that feeds children and elderly people in the community. So we've done a massive drive to get, clients of ours and people in our communities to drop off donations. We also launched a new website for them where you can make donations, like cash donations. So we're going to be heading through with all those donations tomorrow and dropping it off and just saying how's it to Mama Mickey, who heads up the area, and just spend some time with them.
Doctor, what will you be doing for your 67 minutes?
Okay, what we decided to do was to offer free healthcare services for kids just for tomorrow in all our 3 branches. So most of the people can come in for a quick kids checkup or immunization, whatever, then there won't be any charges on
Do you do dental as well?
Yes, we do.
Amazing.
We do have dental work.
Oh, if anybody is close to your clinic, that's a good one, to take your kid for good free dental checkups. That's a good one. Because you've got to clean your teeth like at a dentist like every 6 months
That's
or something.
incredible. I definitely need, I'm going to come straight to you. I know who to trust.
You're going to the dentist.
I love that. And speaking about kids, I heard you guys talking at the top of the show about coding in little kids. I've got a niece and nephew. One is like the niece is 5 years old, the nephew is 7. Over the weekend, just casually, they're learning how to code.
Yeah.
They're sitting
that's
at
like learning a
computers.
whole
I'm like,
language.
what?
It's like learning, there's lots of different ways to code because there's like Python and they're all different languages, basically. It's genius.
That really is genius. I can only imagine how these kids are going to evolve and just kind of soar by the time they're 20.
How young can they be? Or like how old and young are the children that are learning how to code?
No, even in preschool, there's very, very basic, because it's something that we should have started learning years ago. We are really catching up, but it's the best time now. So even for preschoolers, there are coding programs that they can start getting used to.
And is coding numbers based? Like, do you need a basic education of mathematics and science in order to learn how to code?
You do, but you can do coding without those. The critical thing is you need to be a problem solver. You need to have very strong analytical skills because it's all about just creatively solving issues and creating.
And what kind of jobs will kids be able to find and create if they've got the skill of coding under their belts?
The beautiful thing is we're going to, we're not even going into it, we're in it right now, artificial intelligence. It's all about the technical, mechanical, but you need to be able to create using technology. But also, the world of apps, which is where the entrepreneurial flair will come in. And we've seen what your Facebooks have done. We've seen what your Instagram organizations have done. So that's the area. You just need to be creative and be able to create and think analytically and solve using technology.
It really is the Kardashian era. They're artificial and intelligent.
I love that. I think the sky is truly the limit here. Oh, tomorrow is Mandela Day. I'm looking
I know.
very,
What are you
very
doing for your
forward to it.
67 minutes?
So we decided to go to a shelter here in Cape Town called the Haven Nights Shelter. And we kind of cooked for them. We made food, giving back. I think I want to do more, though. I think it's not only about the 67 minutes, but it's about everyone around the world and around our country doing the little bit that they can daily and have a ripple effect and kind of go and spread the love. And yourself, Jeannie?
So I am an entrepreneur. I've got my own business, and other female friends of mine that have got their own businesses. We're doing female pamper packages, especially for women in shelters and homeless women. So to get them all the female things that they will need just to restore their dignity.
I feel like they say charity starts at home, so I love a pamper package.
You get pampered literally every single day. You've got no shortage of pampering.
I love it though.
Thank you so much to all of our guests for being here today. It really is such an exciting time that we're living now, because we are living in the future. And hopefully we can clean that future up and clean our oceans up.
With beautiful
and
faces.
looking good. Fantastic. Thank you so much for being
Thanks
here.
for having us.
And really creating a better tomorrow for our youth.
Thank you.
That's the point, I suppose.
Always.
And thank you so much at home for joining us. And thank you for all of your input on our socials. We really do love hearing from you. We'll be back again tomorrow because we meet self-taught visual artist Enoch Mhlangeni, who makes the most of his art using coffee beans. How incredible. Oh, he's a genius. I love, love, love artists.
Absolutely. We look forward to joining you again tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on Afternoon Express. Good night, God bless, and happy eating. Mwah. Bye.
Where is that food?
Where is that food?
Afternoon Express. Made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.